Hey guys, I just came from training now, and my sensei, when finalized the class, mentioned something important that remind me about this specific post that I wrote almost 1 year back. And he was talking today after the class that even the best grapplists, at some point, they make a lot of mistakes on their life, even when they are elite. So it came to my mind, why do software engineers that work on big teams, that work on big companies, on big products, on excellent and very hard problems, they also fail. And because failures is one of the most important part that will characterize your career, your life, and your personality. So I want to read through this blog post that I wrote several years back. It's fairly short. So because I think it's very important for you to have some specific thoughts about what is important to fail in life, what is important to fail. It doesn't matter what you do, and how to approach those failures, and why people fails, even those that are very good. Why do software engineers elite team also fail? One of the biggest lessons I have learned over the years in my career is that most prominent developers' mind always tend to make the most significant mistake. Maybe because often the best engineers are the ones who work on the most complex problems. Still, experience has shown me that there is a hidden truth affecting elite team performance. In this article, I will expand on the term that I call predominant team biases. What is this? And why I think diversity is the most important feature that enhance and optimize the performance of any software engineer team. Here I was talking about specific teams that are conformed by different elite engineers. Even Rob Cubber, I told you about Rob Cubber. This is one of my mentors on systematic trading. Even he had a specific post that I couldn't find about how the best quant teams can be built. I'm going to find that post in a later video, and I'm going to share with you his thoughts, because he is a very smart guy. I have been software engineer for over a decade. During this period, I have worked in more than 9 companies in 4 different countries and more than 5 times. I have seen the same event happening in one of these companies. The best software engineer, yeah, the guy that writes code that no one else can read, was fired. Yeah, I bet you have this friend, or maybe you are one of them, okay? Which is very hard to understand what this type of issues happen. And this is not a lie, guys. It happened for this is the reason I wrote this post in the first place. This guy, the time that I wrote this post, the best guy on my team was fired. And the main reason is because he basically didn't want to put the shoes going to work. Crazy as you think it is, crazy as you think it is, that guy was very good programmer. He didn't have a bachelor degree, but that guy was a mess. He didn't want to dress correctly. He didn't want to put shoes. He was going to go to work. He was just using a different type of shoes. I don't know how to say chancletas in English, but let's see. Guys, this is not my flip flops. Okay, flip flops. The guys love to use flip flops. Okay, and he was fired even though he was working on the most complex product on that specific team. He was fired, and someone told me that was the reason. He didn't want to listen. He didn't want to came early. He didn't want to assist to the sprint meetings, and yeah, 4 years I have been impacted by those moments in such a way that I'm even planning to write a book about it. I will expand on that in another article. The uncomfortable feeling of seeing you or one of your teammates being pushed away from his chair as I was convicted to jail has never been forgotten. Oh yeah, I wrote this because I had a very bad feeling on the way he was fired. Actually, for whatever the reason, he was fired very, very, very ugly, and I felt so bad about it, so bad, uh, so bad. The uncomfortable feeling of seeing you or one of your teammates being pushed away from his chair as he was convicted to jail has never been forgotten. Yeah, the reason I wrote these specific sentences is because he had three security guys going to his desk. They say, stand up, from no one knew for what reason. Okay, stand up, guys. And they basically just say, okay, you have to join me to the front door, find your car, and just leave. Okay, they don't touch anything else. And that was very awful. Several times, history has shown that elite teams, while often lauded for the high performance and achievement, can also fail, and when they do, they fail big. The reason can vary, but a common principle prevails, and I harvest it for myself, understanding with a peculiarity predominant team biases. Now I'm talking about big teams that fails big, okay? I was talking about specific members, the things, the reasons they fail. Now I'm talking about teams specifically. We are also susceptible to biases, but I have found from my own career experience that when you put a group of brilliant, and I define brilliant as the best of the best, software engineer or developers in the same room without specific guidelines and effective leadership, the creativity, performance, communication, and productivity are hardly damaged. When the best work possible is expected as an output, which is common in high performance teams, the same bias pattern shown again and again. These patterns tend to prevail in each team event. This can be easily identified in teams meeting, feature estimation processes, accomplishment analysis, and team communication rhythm. Biases have been understood thanks to many years for research and the implicit association test, one of the most famous tests in psychology. Psychologists have created an extensive list of biases that are presented in all of us, but from this entire list, there are five that are the most important for this article since they often show in elite teams. So I don't want to go over all the biases, but I think if you haven't heard this word before, it's very important that you understand how your brain fails on common stuff, on common things. So I think you have is a must for you to give a read to this article. Okay, at least the basic one. Okay. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirm or support one prior belief or values. This is we are people, okay? We are person. You are a human being, and you will make this mistake no matter how good you are, okay? And more if the ego blinds your reasoning and your wisdom, okay? In group bias, in group favoritism, sometimes known as in group out group bias, in group bias, intergroup bias, or in group preferences, is a pattern of favoring members of one in groups over out groups members. This can be expressed in evaluation of other, in allocation of resources, and in many other ways. Man, this you can see this a lot. Okay, and the main thing this can be reflected is on the management and leadership on any company. Okay, you will see. Okay, you will see. I don't know how big is your experience if you're watching this, but you let me know here in the comments down below. You will see a lot of managers, okay, going up and up. They change the ranks faster than you. Even um, they didn't get as early as you and the company. And this happens a lot in a lot of companies. It happened in my company, it happened in other companies, and I have a lot of friends that say the same. Okay, you see that friend of the manager moving around. It doesn't matter how bad he is or she is, but she has a good smile, or he has a good smile. He always smiling and smelling behind the managers. And sometimes these guys get fired, but sometimes you see how they go up and up and up, and you're still working the same. You're working hard, working on the weekends, working at nights, and you stay in the same position. Affinity bias is the tendency to favor people who share similar interests, backgrounds, and experience with us. Because of affinity bias, we tend to feel more comfortable around people who are like us. We also tend to unconsciously reject those who act or look different to us. Okay? Attribution bias and conformity bias. Attribution bias is referred to the systematic error made when people evaluate or try to find reason for their own and other behavior. And this is the latest one. The latest one I'm going to talk to you. Conformity bias is the act of matching attitude, belief, and behaviors to group norm of politics or being like-minded. Norms are implicit, specific rules, guidance shared by a group of individuals. So these specific tendencies that the brain makes us fail on a specific reasoning, on a specific behavior, is the reason why most people fail. What most teams also fail. What elite teams can also fail. So there is a lot of reasoning, there is a lot of confirmation bias that can blind our reasoning. Okay, it's time to know that these biases in most cases are not intentional. They can often be unconscious glitches presented in building or maintaining great and highly cohesive teams at a high level of performance. I have experienced that more than being aware of these biases and trying to mitigate them with strategies like open communication, objective criteria decision making, and unconscious bias training is needed when trying to minimize their impact. In my opinion, diversity is the best strategy to mitigate such problems. Highly efficient software engineer teams are those that include diversity on expertise level. Junior or senior software engineers with the right bridge of communication and self-enhancement process can guarantee an accurate level of feature delivery, time estimation, and a different level of code performance and architecture design perspective. I believe this. Not in all cases you need a combination of junior and seniors. Not in all cases, but but it's good to have different experts from different industries, for example, or different experts in different areas of knowledge. Okay, diversity in expertise. This is of course depend on the product, the project type, but to expand on this item will be a simple example. I prefer to have a front end, back end, and full stack engineer when building a web system. I prefer team members with different experiences from different industry and types of system instead of a developer with the same skill or expertise. Yeah, the point here is that I believe that diversity in the team, of course, this also depends on the product, okay? But the problem is when you're building a product, you need different expertises in different areas, okay? And you often need different criteria on different level of this expertise. And for that you need people with different level of knowledge. Why? And the simple idea here why is because the fact that you are very good, it doesn't allow you to have the more simple thought, or maybe it will prevent you. And when you have this other level of people thinking in a low level of you have a different perspective of thought that you will not get because you are very, very, very good and you are very higher. You are thinking too much, or maybe you are even overthinking and you haven't realized that. Diversity of nationalities. This is mandatory. This is not mandatory, but I have found that um, a little bit of joking, a little bit of having fun in a team is important. And I have also found that different nationalities create this good environment where, even by default, because sometimes you just say something and the other people just stay blinded like this because he didn't understood what you just mentioned or you just said. So these type of things, I believe they give you like a little bit of environment good enhancement. The reason for this might be because past experiences tend to influence our most predominant biases, and the environment we live plays a significant role on predominant biases that we as a person develop in our subconscious mind. Creating an elite, high performance teams is an arduous and challenging process that requires the best people in the field, an evolvable and equitable environment, and data driven goal achieving process, trust, and understanding leadership. Including these dependencies in the same source code takes to work. Still paying attention and understanding the predominant bias your team present is an excellent assessment every software engineer, every manager should do to help improve their system and environment. Finally, building it with a great team is always better no matter what product you're developing. Okay? Yeah, it's always good to have the best people as possible in to accomplish the biggest problems as possible. So with this, I'm going to finalize this video because I didn't want to make the video longer. But the whole idea is, please have in mind that you have cognitive bias that can make you fail, that can make you reason in the wrong way, that can make you um, subconscious that your brain can fail. The other idea I want to transmit here, just to finalize my thought, is that if you are in a high elite team, be aware that these biases can be presented and find a way to confront them, find a way to improve, because it's going to improve the way you and your team will deliver those systems and those products. So see you in the next video. I hope you like it. Leave your comment below here, and I'm gonna stick together sharing a lot of good stuff here, guys. Carlos Corrales, see you in the next video. Bye, bye, bye.